Is anger really a sin, or is it just a sign that something else is going on? There is something deeper that's affecting you, affecting the way you're feeling, affecting the way you're reacting. As a Christian wife, you've probably been told to stay quiet. But believe it or not, silence isn't always holy. Hi, my name is Paula, and I help Christian wives create the marriages they've always prayed for. Before I get started, please subscribe if you haven't yet and you like this kind of content. And also be sure to like and share with another Christian wifey who wants to improve her marriage. So let's talk about anger. Not the explosive tear down the house type, but the slow burn. Yeah, you know what I mean. The frustration, the unmet needs, the I'm holding it all together and no one sees me type of anger. So let's go to scripture and see what it says. In Ephesians 4:26, we're told, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. Notice that Paul didn't say, do not get angry. He said, in your anger, do not sin. So that means that anger in itself is not inherently sinful. It's a signal that something's off. Something needs to be addressed. Let's talk about righteous versus sinful anger. So Jesus got angry. He got angry at injustice, hypocrisy, at hardened hearts. That's righteous anger. It leads to correction and not destruction. Let's look at what the word angry means. So in the dictionary, anger is defined as a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. That's surprising, right? That annoyance is used to describe anger. So when you're feeling those little bits of annoyance and you're like, I'm not angry, I'm annoyed. You're angry, sis. So, sometimes our spouse or even our children, they'll do something not intentionally, right? But they'll spill something or they'll break something or they'll just do something that just gets on your nerve, right? And that's fine, because remember, anger is an emotion. It's the way that you react that makes the difference. And we're going to talk about what is a righteous reaction versus what's a sinful reaction. How do we draw the line between sinful anger and righteous anger? Jesus got angry often, but he never got to the point where it got sinful. So that's righteous anger, because it leads to correction. It leads to that teaching moment. For instance, if it's your child, and they do something and it upsets you or it annoys you or it boils your blood, right? Instead of reacting, if you're able to use that moment to teach them, don't do it that way. Don't do this because this will happen. This is what happens when you do it like that. And if we can approach anger in that way where we stop, because sometimes that's all it takes. We just stop in the moment. Why? Why is this happening? What is the cause behind this? Instead of just reacting while we're hot, while we're bothered. Let's look at the other side of this anger, the sinful side of anger. Sinful anger lashes out. It's uncontrolled, it wounds, and in marriage, it can cause that wall that blocks intimacy. Emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, just any type of connection between you and your spouse, because this is the point where we use those hurtful words. This is the point where we go from righteous anger into sin, because we start saying the thing that comes top of mind. We start leading with our flesh. We're doing what our flesh is telling us to do. We're obeying our flesh instead of really stopping to think, how would Jesus react? What does Jesus require of me in this moment? If Jesus could see me right now, how would I react knowing that he's watching me? And that's a good approach to have so that you don't cross into sinful territory. Why do wives struggle with anger? A lot of us as wives, we feel guilty for feeling angry. And as I said before, there's no need for that. Anger is natural. It's a normal emotional reaction to certain things. Sometimes when we're trying to be godly wives and we're directed to submission, and because submission is so misunderstood, we don't really know what it means. So we think we have to be silent, we have to keep our anger in, and we have to do the silent treatment. We slam the door. We don't speak to our husbands, or we don't speak kindly to our husbands. And we never get to the root of the issue. We never discuss what is really going on. But in all honesty, biblical submission does not mean silence. It doesn't cancel out your voice, and it certainly doesn't cancel out your emotions. God knows that we have emotions. He knows that we're gonna be disappointment. We're gonna be heartbroken. We're gonna get angry. But we have the tools. He gave us the tools that we need. We just don't know how to use them. So we're called in these times when these things come up to use our wisdom. And with as wives, a big part of our wisdom comes from tapping into our femininity. When we're able to become more feminine, or just tap into our feminine side. When we walk in our femininity, we're able to be more gentle. We're able to think before we talk. We're able to process that, yes, I'm angry in this moment, but do I need to respond right now? Can I take a few moments just to think, process what is going on, and then formulate a godly, a kind response? Because when you bottle it up, when you bottle up your anger, you're bound to explode. That's how you cross over from righteous anger into sinful anger. After a while, you cannot hold that thing in anymore, and you're not meant to hold it in. You are meant to voice your concerns. You're meant to have your voice. You're meant to be heard. The only thing that submission and that the Bible limits for us as wives is the way in which we do things, the way in which we communicate with our spouse. You can even make all the decisions in your house if your husband is okay with that. The Bible doesn't tell us he needs to make all the decisions. He needs to call the shots. He needs to be in control. No. It says submit to his authority, okay? And that means his respect his desires, respect his opinions, okay? And in order to do that, you need to know them. So you have to communicate. You have to know what his opinions are. You have to know, how does hubby feel about this? I recently spoke to someone, right? She's one of those content creators who are pushing more of being a feminine wife, who's being a wife that's being taken care of by their husbands. And but I spoke with her. She was on live, and I was commenting, and I was like, I'm a submissive wife, but I also work, because she's saying, she works. And she was like, I don't agree with submission. And when she proceeds to tell me everything that she thinks submission is, and I'm like, that's not what submission is. It's actually she basically said, I cannot submit to my husband 24/7. I cannot call my husband to make every single decision. I submit to him sometimes, but I can't submit all the time. And that's not what submission means. Submission means you're not acting independently of your husband. You're not making decisions without him knowing. So say for instance, me and my husband, we agree that you know you can make any purchases under $1,000. You don't have to call me. That's fine. We have enough money in the account to cover that. But anything over $1,000, I'd like, and this goes for both of us, I'd like for us to discuss it before we make that kind of decision or that kind of purchase, right? So in that case, I'm not calling my husband when I'm in the store trying to make a $25 purchase. Hey, babe, is this okay? No. Those kind of decisions are up to you. Submission, it's not telling you that every single marriage, every single wife needs to act the same way, do the same thing. Everyone needs to stay home and be stay-at-home moms. Every single wife needs to not work. Every single wife, no. You can actually make all the decisions because your husband said, and this is you taking, respecting his authority, and he's given you the authority to make certain decisions. He's given you the authority to act on your own behalf in, say, certain respects. So he may say, whatever decisions you make with the children, I trust you. I trust your wisdom. I trust that you're going to do the right thing. You don't need to call me. You know what I mean? It's up to you. You guys can determine what are my strengths, what are your weaknesses, and you can make decisions that way. Submission just means you're respecting him enough. You're not going behind his back and making big decisions, making decisions that could affect everyone in the family. You're not making decisions for him without consulting him. You're not making decisions for the kids that he doesn't know about. It doesn't mean that the Bible isn't telling you, oh, you have to cook for your husband every single day, or he can't cook, you have to be the one cooking, or he can't clean, you have to be the one cleaning. That has nothing to. Your husband could be the only one cooking, the only one cleaning, you're working, you're going, as long as you made that decision together. And the Bible instructs him to love you, to sacrifice for you. So if he's willing to sacrifice his career, his wants, his desires, so that you can do something that makes you feel fulfilled, that's fine. He's loving you sacrificially, and you're respecting him and respecting his decisions and respecting his authority, regardless of what your positions are in the home. That's all that submission means. He feels respected, and respect is different. Just like love is different for every wife, for every single person, not just wives. Respect is different. What my husband may find disrespectful, your husband may be okay with it. So everything requires communication. Like, communicate with your husband. Make sure you know what he desires to feel respected and what you desire to feel loved. He knows what you desire to feel loved. Submission has nothing to do with control. You're not controlling him. He's not controlling you. There's nothing about control. It's about order. Okay? It means he has authority to make decisions in the event that you guys cannot agree. Because if you think about it, if you guys agree, there's no issue. But when you can't agree and you need a tiebreaker, he gets to make that decision. Otherwise, everything else is up to you, as long as you're respecting your husband, as long as he's loving you like Christ loves the church. That's all that a godly marriage is. You're respecting him like the way we respect Christ as the church. And he's loving you the way Christ loved us, in order for him to give his life, sacrifice himself, so that we may live, so that we may have a way to salvation. He sacrificed himself to give us fulfillment, to give us salvation, to give us life. That's what's required of the husband. So do not get it twisted. So what are some biblical ways for you to express your anger? Number 1, pause and prayer. Let's go to Proverbs 29:11. Fools vent their anger, but the wise quietly holds it back. That speaks for itself. I don't even have to go into details with that. Are you a fool, or are you wise? Do you want to become wise? I was a fool. I'm not even gonna pretend. I used to vent my anger and say, oh, it's the truth. And we speak hurtful, angry words, without thinking, without stopping to pause. But if you can pause and pray and say, speak wisdom, speak life, even in the midst of your anger, even in the midst of your annoyance, speak life. Do the godly thing. Number 2, we're gonna speak truth in love. Let's go to Ephesians 4:15. Ephesians 4:15 says, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. So we want to be more like Christ. That's the ultimate goal, guys. That's the ultimate goal, for us to be more like Christ, for our marriage to mirror the relationship between Christ and the church. Number 3, I want you to release, not rehearse. Forgive and move on. Because if you notice, a lot of times in our anger, we start talking about what they always do, what they used to do, what they've already done. And we bring up the past and we talk about the past and we condemn them and we speak hurtful things because it's the truth. It's what you did. I'm only speaking the truth. But if you can release it, forgive him, move on. Because a lot of times that anger, that resentment that we're carrying around, it's as a result of our unforgiveness. If you don't deal with your unforgiveness, you're holding on to anger, you're holding on to resentment. It's another wall that you're putting in between yourself and your husband. So we need to forgive as Christ forgave us. Let's look at Colossians 3:13. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. It's kind of a command, guys. I don't think we have a choice. Unresolved anger turns into resentment. So you have to, in the moment, you're gonna deal with it, but you're gonna pause so that you do not say the hateful words, but you are addressing the issue in the moment. Stop. Ask yourself, why is this happening? What is the underlying issue? And try to address it in a godly way. Unresolved anger is going to turn into resentment. And you know what resentment does? Resentment is going to erode love. It's going to erode trust. It's going to poison your connection to your spouse. Just remember that your voice matters, but your tone matters too. How are some ways that you can actually apply these things? Number 1, I want you to try journaling your triggers. Every time you get angry, if you can, make a note in your phone. If you have a notepad, however you feel comfortable, just note, what is making me angry in this moment? Why am I so upset? What is it about this thing that's triggering me? The second thing I want you to try to do is, when you're addressing the issue, try using I statements. So when you're talking to your spouse, I want you to say how it's affecting you. Like, I feel like this is whatever, or I feel hurt when you leave without saying goodbye. I feel neglected when you leave to go be with your friends every weekend. Another thing I want you to do is to create regular check-ins with your husband. Voice your opinions. It could be daily. If you guys go to bed at the same time every night, before you go to bed, try to discuss the day. Try to discuss what happened. Try to discuss any unresolved issues. You know, today when you said so and so, it really made me feel a certain type of way, or that really hurt my feelings. I'm not sure why, but it just did not resonate well with me. Or if you know why, you can say why, but let him know. Remember, you can say anything you want to your husband, as long as you say it in a way that he's able to receive it. And men almost always will receive something if you say it respectfully. That's the magic word for them. Respectfully. Do it, everything in respect. Okay? The last thing I want you to do when you find yourself getting angry is just pray over your heart before you speak. So in the moment when you get angry, just say a quick prayer. God, protect my heart. Guard my heart. Help me to say the right words right now. You can make up your own prayer. You can figure out what feels right to you. Just speak to God. He hears, he understands, he actually knows your heart. So just remember, Your anger is not the enemy. We all get angry. If anyone tells you they don't get angry, they're lying to you, sis. Don't feel bad about your anger. Just make sure that you do not sin because of it. And even if you do, make sure that you identify what you did wrong, how you could have acted differently, and most of all, apologize. It could go a long, long way. Every one of us makes mistakes. Every one of us will mess up. But being able to own up to your mistakes, to apologize, to ignore pride, and to apologize, now that's the key. Just try to let God guide your actions and your words. And what I've discovered is that the cure, the remedy for stopping your anger from going to righteous to sinful is love. If you can respond in love, and love for men is what I'm saying, the respect. Put some respect on it, and he'll feel the love. He'll feel like, yes, I can respond to this. I don't have to get defensive. But if you want to learn a little bit more about how to express yourself in a godly way, how to develop a more godly relationship with your husband, how to become a more godly wife, I do have a free webinar linked in my bio, so be sure to check that out, okay? And please leave a comment below and let me know if this video helped you. Also, don't forget to share with another Christian wife who's trying to become more godly. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.